How to turn abstract information into a picture. Whatever you are memorizing, you are doing three processes in your mind. First, turning information into the pictures. Second, connecting these images. Third, recalling what you have memorized. Many people who are new to memorizing have these questions. How do I turn abstract information into a picture? How many seconds should I spend in connecting the images? What should I do to recall the information after memorization? First, turning information into pictures. This is the major part of the memorization process and the most critical aspect as well. Many students find this step difficult. Here are 2 points to mention. First, you can turn any information into an image. You may have to use your creativity for some words. Second, you can turn ridiculous abstract words into images as well. Yes, it's possible. Here are the solutions if you have trouble converting the information into pictures. First, direct images are available. If you have to memorize a list like pen, mobile, glass, computer, wallet, you need not to spend a second thinking of what image should I use for memorizing this information. Images are already in your mind for these words. You have seen them with your eyes. Symbolic words. If you have to memorize words like cold, height, you can use images like for cold, you can use the image of a sweater. For height, you can use the image of a top mountain. Mountain symbolizes height and sweater symbolizes cold, etc. Break the words. There would be some words which are complicated and no image comes to mind when you read that word. For example, electroencephalographically. No image comes to mind when you read this word. It doesn't symbolize anything. In this case, the best strategy to use is to break that word into different parts. For example, electro plus encephalo plus graphically. Electro leads to electricity, leads to image of wire. Encephalo, last part, phalo, has a sound of file. It leads to the image of a file. Graphically has a word graph, a mathematical term. It leads to the image of my maths professor. So, my final image for this word, electroencephalographically, is a huge wire wrapped around a huge file, and the file is burning, and my tiny maths professor is trying to pick it up. When I see the image I have mentioned, I'll remember the word electroencephalographically. This process seems very difficult when I try to explain, but it's very easy when doing in your own mind. Ask yourself, what image comes to mind when I read this information? For example, you are trying to form the image using the 3 methods mentioned before and you cannot come up with any image, which is very rare, to be honest. In that case, ask yourself, what image comes to mind when I read this information? Let your creativity take over. Follow your intuition. Your mind will definitely come up with an image. Let me remind you that it is possible to come up with an image for any word. Here are some important points. You have to come up with the images on your own. It's nice to ask the opinion of others if you can't come up with the image on your own. But in the end, use the image which you have come up. Second, if multiple images come to your mind for the same word, then use the image which comes first into your mind. And third, the image which comes to you first is the best image. Now, can you think of any word for which you cannot come up with an image? Open a discussion and we will talk. Thank you very much and see you in the next lesson.